You gave them your patience. You showed up when it was inconvenient. You bit back the words that would have started a fight. And for all that, what's sitting in your hands right now? More silence from them. Less respect. Another favor asked and never returned. Let me stop the spiral before it starts. The problem isn't your heart. It's the door you left unlocked around it. Kindness without walls becomes an invitation. Here's the raw truth most people run from their whole lives. Goodness without a spine eventually turns into a transaction you always lose. Not because being good is a mistake, but because the moment someone senses your warmth has no price of entry, they stop seeing a person and start seeing a resource. Niccolo Machiavelli, the Renaissance strategist everyone misreads, saw something ugly and useful about human nature. People don't automatically return your favors with loyalty. They read your signals. And when your signal screams, "I will keep giving no matter what you do," the message they receive is simple. This person has no flaw. And a person with no flaw, they get walked on. Every cycle. Every time. I'm not asking you to turn to stone. I'm not telling you to weaponize your silence or stop believing in grace. What I am telling you is this: if your goodwill is bleeding away your peace, your confidence, or your authority, it stopped being virtue a long time ago. Self-sacrifice is not the same as self-respect. It became self-harm dressed in polite clothing. So what takes its place? Not rage. Rage makes you predictable, not revenge. Revenge keeps you chained to the person who broke your trust. You replace blind generosity with something Machiavelli would immediately recognize. Something that doesn't beg for respect but commands it by its absence. In this video, I'm breaking down the exact shift, step by step. By the final minute, you'll never hand over your warmth carelessly again. Drop this in the comments right now. My warmth has a gate. Let's walk through it. One, stop painting your soul on everyone else's canvas. You're a decent person. And because decency runs in your veins, you instinctively believe other people run on the same fuel. You think, if I'm fair to them, fairness will echo back. If I lend my loyalty, they'll guard it like their own. That's not naivety. That's having a moral compass. That's beautiful, actually. But here's the fracture point. You start projecting your inner rulebook onto people who never read it. You hand out the benefit of the doubt because you yourself couldn't imagine deliberately wounding someone. You excuse their bad behavior because you remember your own bad days. But not everyone lives inside your framework. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that any person who wants to keep their influence must study people as they are, not as they should be. He didn't claim everyone is evil. He observed that many, when given a chance to take an advantage, will take it even from someone who has been nothing but good to them. That's not cynicism. That's clarity with its eyes open. Think back to the people who drained you, not the ones who made honest mistakes. I mean the repeat offenders. The ones who took your plate and asked for seconds without ever washing a dish. Were they movie villains? Probably not. But their internal rulebook looked nothing like yours. And because you kept assuming it did, you kept feeding a fire that only burned you. First move. See them as they are, not as you are. Not as their best day 3 summers ago. Watch the pattern. Watch what they do when doing right by you costs them something. That's the real person. Once you stop overlaying your values onto people who don't carry them, the surprise stops. The bleeding stops. You start making cleaner choices. Drop this in comments. I see clearly now. 2, your patience is teaching them where to push. This one lands hard. I need you to hear it anyway. Every time you swallow a small disrespect, every time a line gets crossed and you say nothing, change nothing, you are broadcasting a lesson. And the lesson is, this is fine. Most of us don't set limits because we don't want to look difficult. We call it being the bigger person. We call it keeping the peace. We tell ourselves that if we just keep showing up with warmth, eventually they'll figure it out and improve. But here's the cold mechanics. People don't guess your boundaries. They learn them by testing them. And when every test comes back with 0 resistance, when they push and you step back, they don't feel guilty. They feel comfortable. Comfortable taking. Comfortable dismissing you. Comfortable treating you like an afterthought while you've made them a priority. Machiavelli was blunt about this. A leader seen as endlessly flexible will eventually be broken. Not because people are monsters, but because human beings calibrate their behavior to whatever the environment allows. You didn't train them to disrespect you because you're weak. You trained them because you never showed them the property line. Think of one recent moment someone treated you poorly and you let it slide. What happened next? Did they change? Or did the same move come back slightly bigger because they learned there was no fence? You know the answer. This doesn't mean you explode. It means you start responding to disrespect instead of absorbing it. The moment you stop tolerating what's unacceptable, people stop bringing unacceptable behavior into your orbit. Your silence hasn't been protecting your peace. It's been renting it out for free. Drop this, I enforce my lines. 3. Silence is not always strength. Sometimes it's fear in disguise. You've heard the advice, stay quiet, rise above, don't feed the troll. And yes, reacting emotionally to every little jab does make you look unsteady. Letting petty people drag you into petty fights does waste your energy. But no one tells you the hidden cost. Staying silent because you're avoiding conflict is not wisdom. It's terror wearing a robe of maturity. There's a canyon between choosing silence from a position of power because something truly doesn't deserve your attention and choosing silence because you're afraid of being disliked, afraid of awkwardness, afraid they'll leave. The first silence is commanding. The second silence is an engraved invitation for more. When you go quiet because the situation is beneath you, people feel that weight. It has density. But when you go quiet because you're praying the problem evaporates on its own, that silence doesn't whisper. It screams, please don't push me any further. And some people hear that and lean in harder. Machiavelli understood that unaddressed behavior multiplies. The longer you ignore a small wound, the deeper it buries itself. He wrote that the wise leader handles fractures early, while they're still cheap to fix. What you don't confront, you invite more of. That coworker who takes credit, if you never push back, it becomes policy. That friend who only calls when their world is on fire. If you always answer with the same warmth, you're a fire extinguisher, not a friend. Real maturity isn't suffering silently. Real maturity is addressing problems without losing your composure. Say what needs to be said, once, clearly. Then let the other person decide how to respond. That's not anger. That's refusing to be a volunteer in your own devaluation. Drop this. I speak my truth calmly. 4. Replace open access kindness with strategic distance. Now we reach the core engine. The shift Machiavelli would call essential. I want you to trade unprotected generosity for strategic distance. And let me be precise, because people hear distance and think ice veins, emotional lockdown, never letting anyone near. That's not the move. Strategic distance means you stop pouring emotional fuel into people and situations that have returned nothing but smoke for months. It means you manage your availability like a finite resource, because it is. You stop being perpetually on call for people who don't value the access. Here's how it looks in real life. Less availability. You stop answering every text inside 60 seconds. You stop rearranging your calendar for people who wouldn't move a coffee cup for you. Not game playing. Just the honest recognition that your time has weight. Less explanation. You stop over-justifying your number. I can't make it is a complete sentence. You don't owe a 3-paragraph apology to someone who hasn't earned your emotional labor. Less emotional investment. This one hurts most. It means you stop losing sleep over how certain people perceive you, especially people who've already shown you exactly who they are. You stop bending into origami shapes to manage their moods. You don't chase respect, you withdraw access. And here's the Machiavellian insight that actually works. People want what isn't constantly available, not out of pettiness, because perceived value is tied to scarcity. When you are always there, always accommodating, you accidentally signaled low value not because you are low value, but because you are acting like someone with zero other options. When you become less available, something shifts. The people who took you for granted start to notice. They start reaching out differently. They start handling what they do receive from you with more care. Strategic distance is not punishment. It's recalibration. You're not slamming doors. You're just redirecting your energy toward people who deserve it and withdrawing it from those who don't. Drop this. My distance is not cruelty. It's clarity. 5. Control your reactions, not your reputation. Here's the trap good people fall into after months of swallowing mistreatment. They finally explode. All that patience, all that silence, all that tolerance builds pressure. And one day the wrong person says the wrong thing at the wrong moment, and everything comes out loud, emotional, unfiltered. And what happens? The person who was in the wrong walks away feeling justified. See? They're the problem. Look how unstable they are. Meanwhile, you, the person who was actually wronged, now look reactive, unhinged, easy to dismiss. Anger feels powerful in the moment, but it actually hands over your leverage. The second you lose control of your emotions in front of someone, you've shown them exactly which buttons to press. This is one of Machiavelli's quietest lessons. The truly powerful person is not the one who reacts the loudest. It's the one who reacts the least. Think of the most respected person you know, not the loudest, not the most aggressive, the one who genuinely commands a room. I'll bet they're calm. When things go sideways, they don't panic. They assess. They respond deliberately. That calmness isn't indifference. It's control, and control is power. When you react emotionally, you're telling people, you got to me, you matter enough to move me off my center. When you stay calm, you're saying something completely different. I see what you did. It doesn't shake me. I'm noting it, but it doesn't own me. Same rule applies to over-explaining. When someone accuses you unfairly and you launch into a desperate defense, what are you signaling? That their opinion of you has power over your peace. Stop defending yourself to people who've already made up their minds. Stop over-explaining to people who want a reaction, not a reason. Respond when it's useful. Don't respond when it's desperate. Calm is not weak. Calm is the new power. Drop this. Calm is my center. 6. Use silence as a signal, not a hiding place. Earlier, I said silence isn't always strength. Now I flip the lens, because silence used correctly is one of the sharpest tools you own. The difference is the why behind it. Silence as hiding looks like this. Someone disrespects you, crosses a clear line, and you say nothing, do nothing, change nothing. You're silent because you're afraid. Because you don't know how to address it. Because you're hoping it will magically resolve. That silence communicates softness. Strategic silence looks completely different. Strategic silence is when you consciously remove your presence, your energy, your attention from someone who has proven they don't deserve it. You don't announce it. You don't write a long message detailing every wound. You simply withdraw. Your replies get shorter. Your availability drops. Your emotional warmth, the warmth they took for granted, quietly vanishes. And people feel that, even if they can't name it. A shift happens in the dynamic. Strategic silence says, I see exactly what you did. And because I see it, you no longer have full access to me. It's not petty. It's not passive-aggressive. It's an energy recalibration based on new information. Machiavelli understood that sometimes the most effective response to a betrayal is not confrontation. It's repositioning. You don't have to address every wrong with words. Sometimes the most powerful move is to quietly remove yourself and let the other person sit with the silence of their own behavior. The person who used to have your quick replies, your open heart, your fast laugh, and suddenly has none of that, they notice. They wonder. They either change their behavior or they confirm exactly who they are by what they do next. Either way, you keep your dignity and gather data. Use silence as a signal. Make it intentional. Never let it be confused with fear. Drop this. My silence speaks volumes. 7. Shift the entire dynamic with one clean move. Here's what I need you to understand about respect. You don't earn it through 1,000 small moments of biting your tongue. You earn it through one clear, decisive moment where you show people exactly where the fence stands. You don't need to be constantly confrontational. You don't need to turn every chat into a battlefield. But at some point, at the right moment, you need to draw a line and hold it. Firmly, calmly, without apology. That single moment can reset an entire relationship dynamic. What does that moment look like? Someone says something disrespectful in front of others. Instead of laughing it off, you look them in the eye and say quietly, directly, don't do that. No emotion, no drama, just a calm, firm statement that says, I see you, and this stops here. Or someone repeatedly fails to show up for you. Instead of giving them another chance with the same open arms, you simply stop extending the invitation. You pull back your access without a dramatic announcement. You just stop, or someone tries to manipulate you. Instead of playing along, you name it quietly. I see what's happening here. I'm not engaging with it. These moments don't need fireworks. In fact, the calmer they are, the more powerful they become. Because calmness in the face of conflict signals control, and control signals power. Machiavelli wrote that one decisive action taken at the right moment is worth 100 small measures spread over years. There are moments in every power dynamic where a single strong move changes the entire trajectory. You don't have to fight every battle, but you do have to win the moment that matters. After that one decisive moment, after you've held your ground calmly and firmly, you'll notice something. People recalibrate. They stop testing. They start treating you differently because they now know there is a line, and crossing it has a cost. One strong moment is worth 1,000 moments of quiet endurance. Find it. Use it. Don't walk it back. Drop this "I hold my ground" once and for all. 8. Make your kindness earned, not automatic. We're at the final piece, and it ties everything together. You've been giving your warmth like it has no limit. Like everyone who crosses your path is automatically entitled to your energy, your time, your patience, your grace. And that right there is the root of the entire pattern. Here's the shift. Stop giving kindness by default. Start giving it by design. Make people qualify for your energy, not through elaborate tests or games, simply by showing through their consistent actions that they are worth what you offer. New rule. Write this down if you need to. Respect gets access. Disrespect gets distance. That's the whole framework. When someone treats you with respect, when they show up, when they're honest, when they reciprocate, when they treat your time as valuable, they get more of you. More warmth, more generosity, more energy. You give it freely because it's deserved and sustainable. When someone disrespects you, when they're careless with you, when they take without giving, when they treat your kindness as a vending machine, they get less. Quietly, without drama. You simply redirect that energy somewhere it's actually valued. Your kindness becomes a privilege, not a guarantee. This is exactly what Machiavelli meant when he distinguished between the leader and the people. Who is loved out of obligation, and the leader who is loved out of genuine respect. The first gets abandoned the moment things get hard. The second endures because it's earned on both sides. Selective kindness is not cruelty. Selective kindness is intelligence. It means you finally understood something painful but true. Not everyone deserves the same version of you. Not everyone deserves the front door of your heart. The people who treat you right deserve your fullness, your openness, your warmth. The people who don't, they deserve the version of you that is neutral, polite, distant. Not cold, not hateful, just unavailable for anything beyond the bare minimum. You protect your kindness by making it mean something. And when your kindness means something, when people know it's not automatic, it becomes something they actually value. That's when everything changes. Drop this "my kindness is earned, not assumed." Final word. We've covered real ground today. Let me leave you with this. Kindness is not the problem. Let me repeat that because I don't want anything here to be misunderstood. Kindness is not the problem. The world actually needs more people with genuine warmth, genuine care, a genuine desire to do right by others. If that's you, hold on to that. It's rare. It's valuable. It's part of what makes you who you are. But unprotected kindness, kindness with no limits, no discernment, no self-respect woven into it, that is the problem. If being good is costing you your peace, you don't have boundaries. If being generous is costing you your respect, you've been giving it to the wrong people. If being warm is costing you your sense of self, your confidence, your mental health, then you haven't been practicing kindness. You've been practicing self-neglect with a generous mask on. It's time to evolve, not into someone cruel, not into someone heartless, not into someone who builds walls and calls it wisdom. Evolve into someone controlled, someone aware, someone who has done the hard inner work of understanding both their own worth and the nature of the people around them. Evolve into someone who gives generously but deliberately, who loves deeply but doesn't lose themselves in it, who is warm but has teeth when the moment calls for it. Because here is what I know to be absolutely true. The moment people realize they can no longer take advantage of you, the moment they understand that your kindness comes with standards attached, that your presence in their life is earned rather than assumed, that is the moment everything shifts. That is the moment they start treating you differently. That is the moment the dynamic changes. That is the moment you stop being the person people walk over and start being the person people genuinely respect. And that is the moment, maybe for the first time in a long time, you take your power back. If this video landed on you, if even one of these points made something click in your chest, hit the like button right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it helps this message reach more people who need to hear it. And if you know someone in your life who has been too generous for too long, giving everything and getting nothing back, share this video with them, not as a lecture, as a reminder that they deserve better and they don't have to keep accepting less. Subscribe to Winds of Thought if you haven't already. We put out real talk, practical mindset shifts, no fluff. Hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming. And before you go, drop your affirmation in the comments. You've been collecting them through this video. Let me see them. Let the community see them. Because reading those words back to yourself is more powerful than you think. You are not too kind. You are just finally learning how to protect it. Go do that.